blah blah. Social Security. Is it crap or just crap?
I think to him, it's both blah blah blah.
I'm just
crap
kidding.
and crap.
No, okay.
But to me,
No, stop. I want to give a little bit of history on Social Security, and then you do your thing.
I'll do my thing.
Whatever your thing is. Okay. Anyways, Social Security was started in like the 30s or 40s, right?
Yes.
Okay. Around the Great Depression time, and at the time it was started, the average lifespan of a man was like 62, and the average lifespan of a woman was like, was 62, and the average lifespan of a woman was like 65, right?
Yes.
So really what would happen is the men would die at 62 years old, and then Social Security would kick in to take care of the widows for 3 years, and then they died. So it was a welfare program for widows. That's what it was designed for, and at the time it did a fantastic job. However, with the economic prosperity our country's had, and the increased lifespan of humans, not only in the U.S. but around the world, but particularly in the U.S. where people typically don't die until they're 80-something. So all of a sudden, instead of Social Security has to pay for an extra 20-plus years of two people's lives instead of the 3 years it was really designed to pay for of one person. And there's a couple of ways to fix Social Security and have it be what it was originally intended for. One is to raise the age limit to whatever the current lifespan of people is, and then all of a sudden people are working until they're 85 instead of 65. Some people like that, some people don't. Or the other solution is to take the money that we're spending on our wars, stop fighting the wars, bring all of our troops home, and then use that money to pay for Social Security for the old folks and give young people a choice. They can choose to enroll in it or not. And I'm sure there's other choices out there.
Yeah, there's a more popular choice and a more, I think, efficient way. I think most people, not our age necessarily, because I don't think people in their 20s and 30s think it's going to be around by the time we retire, though we'd like it to be. I think the easier thing to do would be to raise the cap. There's a cap right now.
The age cap?
No, not well. You raise that, and I think the age cap needs to be raised dealing with life expectancy because that does affect it. But there is a cap on how much Social Security, right? On how much Social Security you have to pay.
Yeah,
it's an unfair tax right now. Right now is up to your first $90,000 that you make, you are taxed on Social Security. After that $90,000, that first $90,000. After that $90,000, you're no longer taxed.
Well, so it's like if you're rich, it's awesome.
Yeah, it's great for rich people. But like for middle class, which I am.
Now, here's the funny thing: is $90,000 isn't rich anymore.
No, it's not. But that's the thing. Tip O'Neill and President Reagan in the '80s came together and said, "Well, there's a Social Security problem. Well, let's fix it." Well, the easiest thing to do for them was to raise the age cap of when you could retire and when you could receive Social Security. But they ignored at the same time that cap. I mean, the cap, the $90,000 cap doesn't include inflation or stagflation from the 70s or any of the other issues that we've had with the growing economy and with all the ups and downs of our economy. And what they really should have done is also increase that in increments throughout time. It would be much higher than $90,000. I'm not saying you have to do it unlimited, although unlimited, you wouldn't have to raise taxes at all or change anything. If you raise it to unlimited, so no matter how much you make, you're paying Social Security. You know, another thing that they could do is keep that, have the cap go to unlimited, to how much money you make.
So you want to raise taxes? Well, okay.
It's not raising taxes. It's just getting rid of a cap. It's not raising taxes. It's raising taxes on rich and
you just said it was raising taxes.
It's not really raising taxes, though. I mean, you're using the word.
I'm going to play back the tape.
I know you will, but
I'm not going to raise taxes.
Right.
It's not raising taxes. Oh, it's raising taxes on the rich.
You're using the term raising. You're using the term raising taxes. So if you're going to use the term raising taxes, then you could call it raising the taxes on the rich, which I'm not calling that. What I'm calling it is getting rid of the cap.
How about
it's the same kind of things that Mitt Romney did in Massachusetts with getting rid of all the loopholes. Getting rid of a tax loophole is getting rid of a tax loophole. It's not necessarily raising a tax.
I can see that. So really, we only have two solutions to Social Security: get rid of it or change it.
Change how we're doing it, right?
Or change it.
Change something about it.
Changing it means and you can change it without raising taxes by getting money from somewhere else, like cutting. you have to pay for it, and so the money has to come from somewhere. So you either raise taxes or you get the money from somewhere else. Like you make cuts in the EPA or the Department of Defense or the Department of Interior and so on and so forth.
Loopholes in the law.
Well, or if you can cut all the pork spending that goes on, then you might be able to pay for it.
Well, it's interesting something you said as we started this. If we, were involved, say, with the Iraq War or with foreign affairs.
To be fair, I stole that idea from Ron Paul.
Right. But if we did that and brought that money back, I've seen statistics that it could pay for those of you who are for national health care, it could pay for national health care and to make sure that our education system would increase it for everybody, make sure that every child had a computer in their classroom, and fiscal security. That's how much we've spent on this war. Now, I'm not saying you're for those or against those things, but that you're for or against this war. But bringing that up, that in itself would be able to fix a lot of the social problems that the social Democrats are more for.
It's not just the Iraq War. It's our military expenditures of all around the world.
Like in Japan or in Germany,
Korea, and all that other stuff.
Sure. But so for the populists out there, it would make sense for you who consider yourself populists that you would want to bring them all home. For those of you who are a little bit more practical, or those of you who are less populist, there's other ideas. But
if you could do it, what would you do?
If I could do it,
if you could just say this, if you could be the dictator for 4 years and fix it, how would you do it?
One, I wouldn't want to be a dictator, but two, if it was an ideal situation, I think you don't bring home every troop that we have.
I'm talking about Social Security.
Right. Well, the idea is that if it was up to me, I would get rid of the cap. That's something that I would do. I'd get rid of the cap, and I would raise.
Would it go on forever?
It would go on. You would just get rid of the cap, and then you would raise or lower the age depending on life expectancy, because there could be some kind of plague or something. We die younger or we live longer. So we've got that should be taken into consideration. Even before we put it unlimited.
So you could have some sort of tables where if you're 75 at this between this year and this year, then you qualify for Social Security after this particular date and time. Now that's going to. So you want to raise retirement age and raise taxes and lower and shrink our military expenditures. Not the military necessarily, but you want to bring our troops home. Use the money from that, and you want to raise the cap so there's more money from that.
I was talking about the military. That's a possibility. I said no, we don't have to bring the military home at all. We can leave them out there. What I said is, I think merely all we'd have to do, and I didn't say raise taxes. What I said is get rid of the cap, which is just a loophole. Which is a loophole. Get rid of the cap. And make a table that's applicable.
Mitt Romney's going to lose if that's what he says isn't raising taxes, because that's raising taxes.
Well, he did that in Massachusetts, and the Club for Growth actually doesn't necessarily consider raising taxes either. But you don't have to bring the troops home. Just get rid of the cap, which is just. And then so say the new life expectancy is 80 years old. Well, we changed it to 80 years old. If it goes down to 50 because there's some horrible plague and people aren't living past 50, then you change it so that you get retirement earlier. But it should be applicable to what's going on in society. Maybe they got a 10-year, 20, 30-year.
How do you think everybody? There's a lot of people in the what's it called, the ARPP, the
American Association of Retired People,
right? How do you think they're not going to let that happen? They are not going to let the retired age go from 65 to 85. They will not. They are a huge lobbyist.
They're the biggest in the country. But the reality is that if they want Social Security around for a long time, then they have. If they're willing to be compromises in politics is the way it has to be. That's the reality.
Yeah, but they're not going to compromise, because that's a ridiculously huge voting bloc. We're almost out of time.
Right. Well, the last thing I'll say is that yes, you're right. That it's a huge voting bloc, but they have a choice. They can go with a Bush style. Kind of what you're trying to talk about with getting rid of.
Or they simple solution. I say give people a choice. Let the young people choose to
ARP won't be for that either, though. That's what I'm saying.
Not be.
So there's got to be some kind of compromise, and I think they'd be more willing to compromise on age than they would be on.
I think Futurama had the best solution of all. They took the old people when they got a certain age, and they just killed them.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I mean, they saw Nixon's head in a thing, and he was the president of the world. I wouldn't want that either. So
So long story short, we don't have a solution for Social Security right now, except unless we can get everybody to be willing to compromise, and I don't
On
think
something.
the AARP is going to let it happen.
And I don't think young people and conservatives will either. So I think we're kind of an impasse.